Penn State coming up a 9-win season and bringing back a little over half of its production from a year ago, a significant portion of that on the defensive side. KJ Hamler emerged as one of the most exciting players in the Big Ten. Yetur Gross-Matos spending a lot of time in the opponent's backfield. Trace McSorley is gone, of course, a staple in State College. That quarterback position going to be very interesting for James Franklin. Speaking of James Franklin, the Penn State head coach is with us. And, Coach, it's an interesting team because in a lot of key positions it is very young and yet extremely talented. You've recruited so well. So what's the balance there? How do you handle things maybe a little bit differently with a young team?
Yeah, obviously more question marks going into this season than we've had in the past. Whenever you lose a guy like Trace McSorley, I called Coach Harbaugh at the Ravens, not Michigan. Tried to work out a deal where we could get him for a few games, but we have a lot of confidence. We are young, we are inexperienced, but we are talented. Probably the fastest team that I've been around. I think we got a chance to be really good on defense early in the season. Defensive end, linebacker, and corner, we feel great about. Same thing on special teams. Offensively, I think we got a chance to be talented, to be really good. But we're going to have to grow as the season goes.
Sean Clifford is in the spotlight, and I know not necessarily the starting quarterback at this point, but certainly all indications pointing toward that. For those who haven't seen him, and we've seen him in bits and pieces, but certainly, you can enlighten the fans on kind of what Sean Clifford brings. Give us a sense for that.
Yeah, so we got two guys, Sean Clifford and Will Levis, that are both big, strong, physical guys that are really athletic and competitive. I think that's probably the area where Sean has really helped himself. His athleticism came in. We knew he could throw it. We knew he could, make great decisions. We knew he could manage the team, those types of things. But he's really improved from an athletic standpoint. Attacked the weight room, winter workouts, competed with Trace in every aspect that he possibly could. Competed with our other quarterbacks as well. So, actually, in our last testing period, he tested faster than Trace. So we've been very impressed with what he's been able to do. And you guys have saw Levis as well on campus. I mean, Levis looks like Troy Aikman. So we got two guys that we're excited about and then two freshmen.
Young and fast sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Does it change your camp at all? Is there more team, more individual? What's it do to the structure of camp, having a young team? Anything?
Yeah, I think it's going to change a little bit. We're going to need to get into the stadium more, things like that. You'd be amazed with a young team. Right. You think going into the stadium is not a big deal, but it is. So we need to get into the stadium a little bit more. We need to make sure we got some night scrimmages over there as well as day scrimmages. We do those things anyway, but it just magnifies it. We need to make sure we get enough good work early on, and then be able to start to kind of work back on that a little bit, cut back on that a little bit to allow our guys to go into the season being confident. We've done a lot of stuff when it comes to sports science in the off season and made some pretty dramatic changes in our program with our in-season schedule as well as our camp model. So we're just trying to get better every single year. But I think the youth will play somewhat of a factor in that, more from the standpoint we're going to have to put them in some game-like situations as much as we can.
Coach, you guys do an unbelievable job of coaching your players up, and you've done a tremendous job on the recruiting side as well. But you've lost some guys. Is that just a byproduct of just how well you've been doing recruiting, or do you have to have a balance there?
Yeah, I think it's a combination of a lot of things. I think it's how we've developed, it's how we've recruited, and I also think where our program is now compared to where our program was 3 years ago is very different. And you guys saw the transformation in year one when we got there, and year two when we got there, and then we win a Big Ten championship in year three, and then everything dramatically spikes. So, right now we're in a situation where we've lost depth. There's no doubt about that. There's no other way to describe it. We have lost depth, some of that veteran depth. In my conversations with a lot of coaches in the conference and across the country, that's a lot of people's issues. Those number two that would have been in your program as backups, have decided to go other places. I think you can make arguments both ways. We've had a lot of discussions about that. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the talent we have. We just have to gain that experience and that confidence as soon as we possibly can across the board.
To follow up on Howard, so I know you've talked as a conference about transfer rule and the appeal and all that. What are your specific thoughts about it?
Yeah, I kind of see it from both perspectives. My concern is I worry that we make rule changes. As you know, all these rules were put in place for a reason. So then we cut the rules back, and there's unforeseen consequences to those rules. I'm all for guys getting opportunities to be able to play. I thought the graduate transfer rule was the right thing to do for everybody. I think that's been pretty unanimous that everybody's agreed with that. But where we're at now, it was a little bit of a free-for-all for a period of time there. And my biggest concern is things that we were concerned of happening happened. Recruiting off of other colleges. That should never happen. I got a good friend who's in the MAC conference. I won't say which school, but they had 5 returning all-conference players. How many of them are back? All of them are gone. You know, so it's a tough situation, and it's challenging. I think the other thing that to me is important is it should start from the educational component, and all the conversations now are about football. Guys are making football decisions where it used to be about education, and then the NFL was a dream as well. There's just too many conversations in my mind that are all football driven, which I don't think it's ultimately what it's supposed to be about.
Ricky Slade is an exciting, dynamic back. You also get a new player, Noah Kane. How do you see those two guys being able to work together? Because you guys have had an unbelievable, track record.
Yep.
With the backfield.
Yeah, we got a young man by the name of Gerry Brown that I think a lot of people are excited about too. Leroy Burrell, you guys probably remember that name. He had won a gold medal in the Olympics, had the all-time 100-meter record in the state of Pennsylvania. He broke his 100-meter record. Big, strong, fast, athletic. We're expecting him. Devin Ford's a guy that showed up on campus that people are excited about as well. So I could see us being a little bit more of a running back by committee this year. Keep those guys fresh, keep them in the game, gain experience and things like that. But we got 4 guys that we're really excited about.
You have made consistent improvement in the offensive line. Has that continued? Will this be your best offensive line, do you think?
We had one guy leave early, which I think is if we had him return, then I would be able to say that. But right now we got 3 returning starters that we feel really good about. We got some young, talented guys that are going to have to step up and play. We feel like it can be, but Jerry, it's too early for me to say that.
Okay.
Yeah.
How about the linebackers? A lot of talent and speed there. How does that change what you do defensively?
Yeah, I think defensively, you look at defensive end, I think we're as good as anywhere in the country. At linebacker, I think we got a chance to be good at anybody in the country. And then at corner, the same thing. Our 2 question marks going into spring were defensive tackle and safety. We ended up probably being further along there than I thought we were going to be, and we're just going to have to continue to build on it. But the athleticism and the speed that we have at the linebacker position, a guy like Micah Parsons, who we may decide to start this year. He never started a game last year and led us in tackles. So
I got a little news for you, Coach. You might
want to start him. Yeah, I agree.
Overall, there is a disparity between the experience on the defensive side and the experience on the offensive side. How do you kind of so as we were talking about, Jerry was asking you about, well, how do you change practice? What do you do differently because of the youth? And you were talking about that. Do you handle the offense and the defense differently given that situation?
No, because we're still fairly young on defense. And for us, the way we've always built it, camp is about gaining experience for as many young players as you possibly can. We're a team that tries to go 2 groups. I'm not a big believer in guys learning. You got 4 deep and you got the 3s and the 4s standing watching the whole time. So we want to get those guys reps in 7-on-7. So our whole camp model is really trying to find out what young players are going to be able to help you this year. So we've always built it that way. It's just magnified this year based on our circumstances.
James Franklin, head coach of the Nittany Lions. Coach, really appreciate your time. Thanks
Thank you,
so much.
guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Coach.